Now, as we were talking, that quantitative research needs in-depth analysis. It needs many number of ways of collection of data. Therefore, we have different tools for collecting the data for a qualitative research. In quantitative research, using one tool can give us the data we require, and the analysis may give us the findings we want. But since we have seen that qualitative research deals with in-depth analysis and the human is the instrument for collecting a data, to bring reliability and credibility into data, lot of various ways of collecting the data are required. It can be a simple observation, it can be interview schedule, it can be field notes, it can also be simple stories, narratives, as we have mentioned in different uh, uh, types of qualitative research. Now let me see how we can talk about each of the tools of or ways, rather we can say ways of data collection for quantitative research. The first way of data collection for quantitative research is the observations. Conducting an observation as participant observation, that is, the participant himself is the observer. That so in qualitative research, the researcher himself becomes the part of the group, part of the locale, part of the case of which the data has to be collected. More time is spent on participant than observation, participation then observation. Since the more time is spent, the observer becomes the part of the group. Rather than being an outsider, he becomes the insider into group. And that is why, as Malinowski had said, to collect the data, to study about a people in a particular culture, you have to live with them, because then only they will share the relevant information and you will get the relevant information. Also, for purposeful observation, it is also necessary that you know the language, the local dialect, the local mannerism in which the people communicate of that particular group or particular case, because in that case only you will be able to understand how the words which they are saying or actions which they are performing will give you the uh, actual meaning. So this is one way. Then another is focus group discussion. That is, you can organize a focus group in which the people discuss instead of individual. When people discuss in a group, you come out with many type of ideas. Also, when the resources are less, when you cannot interact individually with a person or cannot visit a person individually, it is always advisable to arrange focus group discussion. The format of the focus group discussion can start with certain predetermined questions, and later as the discussion proceeds further, you can have the questions, or you can have the observations, or you can have the consideration which come out of the group. The number of individuals who are there should have a common outlook, they should have a common background, so that they can part actively in the focus group discussion. So it is always desirable to collect views of several people within the population subgroup. By group interaction among the participant, it is helps in developing greater insight. And also, while discussing with each other, people also develop new ways of thinking and they can give new suggestions. Another way is the documents, as we said, in document analysis, which is very much used in the content analysis or in the historical analysis. We can keep record of the things, we can maintain a journal, we can study the diaries of the person who has already created a record of the events of a particular group. We can collect the letters, we can also analyze the paper cuttings which are there, the magazines and the paper cutting of that particular incident which happened at that time. Like just now we were talking of the pandemic in 18 and 1920, the similar influenza pandemic which occurred that time. It gives the pictures, the people, how they were wearing masks, gives us the understanding of the situation then. So these documents can also be analyzed, like public documents, like papers, official memos, minutes of the meetings, and the archive material like pictures, they can be analyzed. The documents of schools can also be analyzed if you're studying about a particular school as a case, the attendance records, the retention rates, the dropout rates. These also help us to analyze about the particular in-depth study. Also the autobiographies, biographies, maps, seating charts, they help us to examine and collect in-depth information about the for qualitative research, and these data can be recorded. The portfolios which are developed for the child, the anecdotal records, and will also help us to analyze the progress of the child in particular uh, area. It can also help us to know, if you want to study a particular child as a case, what were his special abilities, what were his areas where he was lacking. Also it can help you to contribute in developing an individualized plan for the child. So these things will help you in the qualitative research. Electronic data, now we can have mails, we can have the chats, we can have also we can have the Twitter accounts of the events, or a person, they can also help us to collect the data in qualitative research. So these, besides this, there can be various audiovisual materials uh, like videotapes, photographs we have already discussed, which help us to analyze, like if you are talking about the music of a particular time, you can study uh, the uh, music of a particular era, and you can come out that at this time more classical instruments were used, at this time the lyrics were more important, this time remix were more important. So those are also helpful. Also we can have certain evidence like fossils, etc., or evidence which are there on um, buildings, which are there as pictures, murals on the building. That also can help us to uh, uh, study a particular culture. Many places, when you are studying the culture of a place, you have those buildings which depict the uh, lifestyle of people, how they live, how they interact. So those can also be help us to study. Uh, those can also help us to study the process or phenomena. So these are the ways while we can collect data. Also we can collect sound, we can examine processions or rituals, we can collect the melas or the cultural festivals which are organized in a particular cultural setting. They also help us to get information about particular phenomena which is occurring. So in this way, we can have a diverse sort of observation. We can have structured, unstructured interviews, we can have observations, we can have field notes, we can have diaries, we can have audiovisual materials. There was a very good example somebody was studying, said if you only material which was available right in times to come was the audio, there's tapes, audio visual tapes of our serials which are telecast in our channels, then probably people will decipher the society was very affluent, everyone was always ready, people looked very nice, everyone was working, but they never showed where they were working. People had books, they showed they went to college, but in college studies were not done. So these sort of analysis, like if the evidence is there, it can give this sort of interpretation. So therefore we need various sort of evidence, but that would not be actual representation of a society of this time. That would only be what is being represented by the audiovisual tapes of a serial. So to come to conclusion, we need lot of things. We can have the written material, we can have the diary notes, we can have your observation. And again, as we are saying, the researcher himself is the instrument of noting down what has to be observed in that particular case or particular study. So that should be kept in mind while you are recording or while you are selecting the instrument. If you can see, forms of qualitative data collection can be summarized as given by Creswell, that observations, which are forms of data collection, which help type of data which it will give field notes, it will give drawings, the what type of definition, how will you classify this data. It will be a unstructured text data which is taken during observation by the researcher. Then there can be interviews and questionnaires. That will be again transcription of open-ended interviews and open-ended questions or questionnaires. The unstructured, again it will be a unstructured data which will be obtained from transcribing from audio tapes or interviews. Like if you're taking interviews, it can be taped because you might miss something, or you can record while you're writing. You can also ask them to fill these questions in the questionnaire form so that nothing is missed. Then the documents, as we said, it will give us what sort of data it will give us. It will give us hard recorded notes about the things which are happening. It can be a public record which is available for the researcher. And audiovisual, again, it can be the pictures like we have already talked. It can be the audiovisual material which has to be considered as images and sound. Now all this data is a large amount of unorganized data which we get in the qualitative research, which is collected by these various techniques. Now this data has to be organized into themes, and which can be on the basis of text, which can be on the basis of pictures, which can be basis of sentences. This has to be organized, it has to be coded. Now this coding has to be again decoded to put it into a sequential manner, and then a meaningful analysis or meaningful description can be derived. So collecting the data and then arranging this data into a systematic form and then coming out into a meaningful findings from this data is a very challenging task for the researcher. He has to make the themes. These themes uh, uh, can be made, or can be their reliabilities can be established, their credibilities can be established by adopting various ways. You can ask by when you make themes on basis of words or sentences or documents, you can again classify these things and ask raters to see whether these things are okay. Then inter-rater analysis can be established, and then the rating category can be finalized, and finally on the basis of these the researcher can come out with certain descriptions or certain uh, uh, meaningful observations which can be again recorded and put in form of research finding. So this part requires a lot of patience and lot amount of organization, lot amount a good amount of language proficiency on part of the researcher. It is always easy to report the quantitative research, but the reporting in qualitative research needs a lot of effort on the part of the researcher and the person who and the mentor or the supervisor who is there. So this has to be kept in mind, and this has to be considered while writing the or reporting the qualitative research, there is no set format, because in generally quantitative research, we have a chapter of introduction, then review, then design of the study, then analysis of the data, and the final chapter. But in this, there is no fixed format. It generally has an introduction, then the research design, which varies from time to time and which evolves. As we have said, this cannot be decided beforehand what your design will be. And this design, the review helps in giving indications to these design. The review doesn't help in formulating the design. The methods and the sample selection also varies, and that has to be kept in mind while what you do while you're progressing in the research. So there is a lot of flexibility. Again, the reporting need not be in one chapter. It can be done objective wise, because every objective or research question requires in-depth analysis. So it cannot be clubbed up in simple tabular form as in form of quantitative research. You can have a description for each research question in a separate chapter, and then each chapter has certain themes which has to be coded, decoded. The credibility of the instruments has to be established, the reliability of the instrument has to be established, there has to be dependability, how these instruments are related. So all these things has to be kept in mind while you are reporting the qualitative research. And this format of reporting qualitative research is again the best judge can be the researcher himself, because he has to express in detail about the phenomena which is occurring, about the incident which is occurring, about the cultural setting which is influencing. So there cannot be a set form of it. So the advantage is there that when you have to study in-depth phenomena, it is always better to come out with qualitative research. But if you have to make generalizations, then you should take quantitative research. If you are more involved, if you have patience, if you can think in the context setting way, then it is always better to prefer qualitative research, especially when the variables are flexible, when they are not as uh, 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 determined as in case of physical sciences. So when the variables are flexible, when you cannot have a standard which is there, when you have to report in-depth uh, 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 analysis of anything, when you do not have to generalize, it is always better to use qualitative research approach for doing your research. It is generally a shift from the positivist paradigm, a new dimension to understanding people and their context. And also, as mentioned, somewhere you can mixed method can also be adopted. It is not very uh, uh, very very important that you only stick to a particular paradigm. You can mix the two paradigms to come to your findings and to your results. And to end with it, I would share certain references with you. If you have generally the Creswell's book, and uh, Best, again, as I say, John W. Best is the best book to start about any research format. Then there is a very good book by Patton which can be referred to for qualitative research analysis. And of course, the net has lot many references which can be consulted, lot many videos which can be consulted. But this is a paradigm which should be considered while you are doing studies with the humans, because as we know that human behavior is very diverse. It changes from setting to setting, from person to person, from time to time. So to come out into generalizing it, it's not generally advisable. If we have to come out with some meaningful interpretation, it is always better to also use a bit of qualitative aspect into it. The data may be more difficult to analyze, but this once analysis is done, the data gives you more meaningful finding. So it is always advisable to use a mixed form of approach for your research design. Now, this can be very important in any sort of research studies. And also, again, it is always good that we use large number of data collection tools, large number of ways for collecting data, because that will actually establish the credibility of your qualitative research file. So it is always, do not depend on one type of data, have lot of ways. Even if you're taking an observation, record the visual pictures also, record the notes also, and lot of patience is required on the part of the researcher in qualitative research. It was nice to interact with you, and I'm sure if you have any problems, you can get my mail from the organizers and we can be in touch. Thank you.